Hey guys, what's going on? It's Brandon here with another video for you guys today. Thanks for clicking on the video and watching it. I really appreciate you guys clicking on it yet again. But today is a little bit different from what I'm normally doing. So on Fridays, I'm going to be looking at more finance topics. So Finance Friday is what I'm going to be calling it. And today we're going to be going over how to increase your credit score. And now I know this is a pretty important topic. A lot of people are really either wanting to build their scores up or they don't have any credit. So they're looking at getting a credit score and getting it in the right place. So today we're just gonna go over the basics of it and kind of go into detail over it a little bit. But before we do that, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I know a lot of you guys that are watching this are not subscribed, so please subscribe down below. It would mean a lot to me and I really appreciate it. It goes such a long way for my channel. But before I go on and on about that, let's go ahead and get into the video. So really what I'm going to be covering in this video today are the different ways your credit score is broken down. So I'm going to be going into the percentages and kind of what it means in that category. So you guys will see what I mean here in a second when we get into it. So the first part that your credit is So the first part your credit is broken down into is the types of credit. And this accounts for 10% of your score. So what it means by types of credit, it just means either a mortgage, student loan, car loan, credit cards, basically just different types of loans or different things you have. And this one is just a small makeup of your score because it's not required that you have a mortgage, a car loan, student loan, credit cards. You don't have to have all of them. But out of all those things I said, don't feel stressed out if you don't have every single one of the ones I listed off. It is not required. It is just something they look into. So if you have like maybe a lot of credit cards or overly weighted in one, it could be negative for you. But as long as you're not crazy weighted in one way or whatever, you won't really need to worry about it. So just try to get some lines of credit and you should be okay here. And now the next 10% of your credit score goes under new credit opened. And now all this is really doing, it's pretty self-explanatory. Anytime you open up a new credit line, get something new, it's gonna be reflected on your report and it's gonna see how often you're opening up new accounts, are they close together? Because if you open up a lot of new accounts close together, especially if you're just starting out new, it's gonna raise a little bit of a flag. You're gonna look as more of a high risk individual. So that could bring your score down a little bit, but in the long run, it won't matter as much. Just make sure you're getting accounts built up with age. That's the most important thing. But just try not to stack them on top of each other. Maybe space them out by like 3-6 months. Just a recommendation. All right, now the next slice we're gonna be talking about is 15% of your score. And this goes over the length of your credit history. Now this one is another pretty straightforward one. It just goes over the total amount you've had credit history. And so this is gonna look at your newest, your oldest, and your average length of credit. Now this one's pretty important. This is why whenever you start a new credit card, you wanna hold on to it forever. Like for me, I just started my credit history like 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And I'm planning on holding that card for probably the rest of my life or as long as I possibly can. It's really important to build accounts up while you're younger. So that way it really helps your credit score grow, especially, or if you can get a few accounts open now, it may hurt your score in the short term, but in the long term, it'll help it overall. It'll raise the average age of your credit lines up. So short term, opening up a lot of lines may hurt you, but if you're looking bigger picture, it'll definitely help. Now, I don't recommend though, if you already have an established credit history, to go open a bunch of new lines just to try to get your account age built up for the long run. Because if you're looking at buying a house or buying a car, that might impact your score enough to where you might not want to do that in the short term. So just keep that in mind. And now we're starting to get into the last couple big chunks of your credit score. Now this one is worth 30% of your score. So this one's really important and it's the amount you owe. And now this one's extremely important. This, you also might hear it called credit utilization. And the reason why this is so important, this will show lenders on if you're a high risk individual to lend to or not. So let's say you have $1,000 credit limit I always suggest try to staying below 20% or less of your account. Because if you're spending $200, that shows up as 20% utilization, and you're shown as a lot less of a risk compared to somebody that's maxing that card out every month. So if you want to be smart with your credit cards, always try to keep the utilization 20% or lower. And if you have not been doing this and you start doing it, I guarantee you will see your score starts to go up. Because that's probably one of the best, fastest ways to raise your score is just really managing and tracking your spending and not overspending on your credit cards. Just because you have it doesn't mean you should use it. I know it's a crazy idea that you can't or you shouldn't use your full limit, but that's just how it works. Now, the biggest chunk of your credit score comes down to payment history. And now this makes up 35% of it. So it's the biggest chunk out of all of them. And this is just making your payments on time. And now, obviously, if you have a credit card and you want to be smart, as soon as you buy something, you pay it off. You should never, ever carry a balance on your credit cards, ever. But if you're somebody that for whatever reason wants to, you have to make your payments on time. Because if you're missing payments, you're late, whatever the case is, this is going to hurt your score the most by far. And now if you want to improve your score, this is going to take some time because it's going to be on your credit score for a little while, showing that you've missed some payments. But if you want to get your credit score in the right direction, you have to start making full payments now, and that'll help your credit the most by just making your payments on time. It's as simple as that. If you can do that and you keep your credit utilization below 20%, you're winning most of the credit card game. Other than that, you just have to tidy some things up. But if you can do those two main things, that'll help your score go such a long way. And it's just something you really got to write down and really strive for. It may take some lifestyle changes or just simple fact of just remembering it. Because I know sometimes you can get maybe carried away by not thinking about it. But as long as you really approach, okay, I need to use this credit card like a debit card. I can't use more than I have. And then you make all the payments on time and you don't use more than you should, you will really see your score go up. And now I will say you should give it a time frame of like around 6 months before you want to see a real change in your credit score. Because credit score doesn't change overnight. It's going to take some months to build up some history. But hopefully that wasn't too rambled, too all over the place. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little different from my channel, but I think on Fridays, I'm really going to be putting out different finance topics. So if you guys enjoyed this, leave a thumbs up, drop a comment down to see if you liked it. I'd really appreciate the feedback. But with all that being said, don't forget to subscribe and have a great day.